That was the first sign something was wrong. Trevor never left the door unlocked. Never. In our 8 years of marriage, he checked that lock twice before bed every single night, even after I'd already checked it myself. Some habits you can't break, he always said. His grandmother got robbed twice back in the 70s and she'd raised him to be careful. Paranoid even. So when I turned the handle and it opened without my key, my stomach dropped. Trevor? I called out, stepping into the foyer. My heels clicked against the marble we'd saved 3 years to afford. Baby, you home? Music drifted from upstairs. Not Trevor's usual jazz, but something else. Pop music. Loud. I set my purse and laptop bag on the console table and started up the stairs, my heart beating faster with each step. The music was coming from the guest bedroom, the one we barely used except when my father visited twice a year. The door was open. Inside, Crystal was unpacking a suitcase onto the bed. My stepsister. My father's wife's daughter. The girl who'd shown up to my wedding in a white dress and spent the whole reception crying about her ex-boyfriend. She looked up and smiled like she owned the place. Hey Denise. I was wondering when you'd get home. She held up 2 tops, one in each hand. Which one do you think looks better on me? The red or the blue? I couldn't speak for a full 10 seconds. Just stood there in the doorway, watching her arrange her clothes in my guest room like this was normal. Like this was planned. Crystal. My voice came out hoarse. What are you doing here? Oh, Trevor didn't tell you? She laughed, that high-pitched giggle that had grated on my nerves since our parents got married 5 years ago. I'm staying here for a while. Just until I get back on my feet. You know how it is. No, I didn't know how it was. Where's Trevor? I asked. He had to run out. Said he'd be back around 7. She turned back to her suitcase, completely at ease. He's so sweet, you know. When I called him yesterday crying about losing my apartment, he didn't even hesitate. Just told me to pack my stuff and come straight over. Yesterday. She called my husband yesterday. And he'd invited her to move into our home without saying a single word to me. I backed out of the room and walked to our bedroom in a daze. Pulled out my phone. 12 missed calls to Trevor over the past hour while I was in my final meeting. No response. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. I sat on the edge of our bed, the king-sized one with the cream-colored duvet I'd picked out from that boutique store in Brooklyn, and tried to breathe. Tried to think of a rational explanation. Maybe he tried to call me during my meeting. Maybe this was just a miscommunication. Maybe Crystal had exaggerated her situation and Trevor, being the kind man I'd married, had offered help without thinking it through. We talk about it tonight. Set some boundaries. Figure out how long a while meant and make sure it wasn't more than a week or 2. That's what I told myself. But something felt wrong. Terribly, deeply wrong. I'd never liked Crystal. It wasn't just that she was younger and prettier in that effortless way that made me feel like I had to work twice as hard. It wasn't even that she'd always competed with me for my father's attention, even though he wasn't her real father and she had a perfectly good dad of her own who sent child support for years. It was the way she looked at Trevor. I'd noticed it at family dinners. How she'd lean too close when he talked. How she'd laugh too loud at his jokes. How she'd touch his arm just a second too long when she asked him to pass the salt. Trevor always acted like he didn't notice. She's just friendly, he'd say when I'd mention it. That's how young people are now. Touchy-feely. It doesn't mean anything. I let it go. Told myself I was being paranoid. Insecure. Now she was sleeping down the hall from us. I heard her laughing downstairs. Heard her open the refrigerator, my refrigerator, and the clink of glass. Was she drinking my wine? I walked to the window and looked out at our quiet street in Fort Greene. We'd bought this brownstone 3 years ago. Scraped together every dollar, worked extra hours, dreamed about the life we'd build here. Trevor had proposed to me on this very block 8 years ago, when it was still rough around the edges and we were just 2 kids in love with more dreams than money. Now a stranger was making herself at home in the space we'd built together. My phone buzzed. Finally. Trevor. Hey babe, sorry I missed your calls. I'm grabbing dinner. Be home soon. That was it. No explanation. No, by the way, your stepsister is moving in. Nothing. I called him back immediately. Denise, I'm in the drive-thru, can this wait? No, it can't wait. My voice was shaking. Trevor, why is Crystal in our house? Silence. Then a sigh. I was going to talk to you about it tonight. Talk to me? She's already here, Trevor. She's unpacking. In our guest room. You invited someone to live in our house without asking me first. She didn't have anywhere else to go, he said, and I could hear the defensiveness creeping into his voice. That tone he used when he knew he was wrong but didn't want to admit it. Her landlord kicked her out. She called me upset, crying. What was I supposed to do? She's family. She's not my family. She's my father's wife's daughter. There's a difference. Denise, come on. Don't be cold about this. It's temporary. How temporary? Another pause. A month. Maybe 2. Just until she finds a new place and saves up for a deposit. 2 months. 8 weeks of Crystal in my space, eating my food, breathing my air, looking at my husband with those eyes. You should have asked me first, I said quietly. This is my home too. I know, and I'm sorry. But she was desperate and I couldn't just let her be homeless. She's 28 years old, Denise. Still figuring things out. We were lucky. We had good jobs, good credit. Not everyone has that. The guilt trip. He was good at those. Fine, I said, because what else could I say? She was already here. The damage was done. But we're setting ground rules. Tonight. And I mean it, Trevor. 2 months maximum. Thank you, baby. I love you. I'll be home in 20. He hung up before I could respond. I sat there on our bed, staring at my phone, feeling the foundation of my marriage shift beneath me like sand. 20 minutes later, Trevor walked through the door with Chinese takeout and that smile that used to make my heart skip. He kissed my forehead, set the food on the counter, and called up the stairs. Crystal, dinner's here. She came bounding down like a teenager, all energy and smiles. Hugged Trevor like they were old friends. You're the best. I'm starving. We sat at my dining room table, the one I'd refinished myself last summer, and ate in strained silence. Well, Crystal and Trevor talked, laughed, joked about some show they'd both been watching. I pushed lo mein around my plate and said nothing. So Denise, Crystal said, turning those big brown eyes on me. Trevor said you're in marketing? That's so cool. I've been thinking about getting into that. Maybe you could help me with my resume? Sure, I said flatly. And thank you so much for letting me stay. I know it's a lot to ask. My mom wanted me to stay with her and Gerald, but their place is so small and I need my space, you know? My father's house had 4 bedrooms. But I didn't say that. It's fine, I lied. Trevor reached over and squeezed my hand. See? Everything's going to work out fine. But as I looked across the table at Crystal, saw the way she smiled at my husband, saw how comfortable she already was in my home, I knew nothing about this was going to be fine. That night, I lay in bed next to Trevor, listening to him snore, and stared at the ceiling. Down the hall, I could hear Crystal moving around, unpacking, settling in. And I knew, with a certainty that made my stomach hurt, that I was about to lose everything. The first week was bearable. Barely. Crystal stayed in her room most of the time, or at least she did when I was home. She'd come down for breakfast eating my yogurt, my granola, my fruit, and disappear back upstairs with her laptop, claiming she was job hunting. Trevor seemed relieved that we were all getting along. See, he said on Wednesday night, wrapping his arms around me while I did dishes. I told you it wouldn't be so bad. She's keeping to herself. I didn't mention that I'd found her hair in our bathroom that morning. Long, dark strands in the sink that weren't mine. When I asked Trevor about it, he shrugged. Maybe she used our bathroom when hers was occupied. We only had 2 bathrooms. The guest bathroom and our master. And she'd been the only one home. She needs to use her own bathroom, I said. Denise, come on. Don't be petty. It's just a bathroom. Petty. That's what he called it when I had boundaries. By the second week, things started to shift. I came home on Monday to find Crystal cooking in my kitchen. The whole house smelled like her perfume, something floral and too strong mixed with whatever she was making on the stove. Hey, she said brightly. I made dinner. Trevor said you love shrimp pasta, so I thought I'd make some for everyone. Kind of a thank you for letting me stay. My favorite dish. The one I made for special occasions. She was cooking it in my house with my groceries like she was the woman of the house and I was just visiting. That's nice, I managed. Trevor will be home late tonight. He has a work thing. Oh, I know, she said, stirring the pot. He texted me. He texted her. My husband texted my stepsister to tell her he'd be late, but he hadn't texted me. I checked my phone. Nothing. Well, I already ate. I lied. I had a late lunch. But you go ahead. I went upstairs, closed our bedroom door, and called Rochelle. She picked up on the first ring. Girl, what's wrong? You never call on a Monday. Rochelle Davis had been my best friend since sophomore year at Howard. She was a corporate attorney now, sharp as a blade, with no patience for nonsense. She'd hated Trevor from day one, said he was too smooth, but she'd supported our marriage anyway because she loved me. Crystal moved in, I said. Your stepsister? The one who wore white to your wedding. That's the one. When did this happen? 2 weeks ago. Trevor invited her without asking me. She's living in our guest room. Silence. Then, Denise. No. It's just temporary. That's what they all say. How long is temporary? 2 months. 2 months? Girl, you need to get her out of your house. Today. I can't just kick her out. Trevor would. Trevor would what? Get mad? So what? That's your house too. You pay half that mortgage, don't you? I pay more than half, I admitted quietly. I made more than Trevor. Always had. Senior marketing director at a Fortune 500 company, while he ran his own small real estate development company that had more ambition than profit. Then you have every right to say who lives in your house. Denise, I'm serious. This is not going to end well. She's just staying until she gets back on her feet. Famous last words. Listen to me. Watch them. Both of them. Because if your husband is the type to invite another woman into your home without asking you first, he's capable of a lot more than you think. I wanted to argue. Wanted to defend Trevor. But I couldn't. I'll keep my eyes open, I promised. Do that. And call me if anything else happens. Anything. I hung up and sat on my bed listening to Crystal laugh downstairs. Listening to her move around my kitchen like she belonged there. When Trevor got home at 9, I heard them downstairs. Talking. Laughing. She'd saved him a plate of pasta. He never came upstairs to say hello to me first. The 3rd week, I started noticing bigger changes. Crystal had stopped job hunting. Every time I asked her about it, she had an excuse. The job market was tough. She was waiting to hear back from a few places. She wanted to take some time to figure out what she really wanted to do. Meanwhile, she was making herself more and more comfortable in my house. She started doing Trevor's laundry. I came home one Thursday to find her folding his clothes in the living room, laughing at something on her phone. When I asked her about it, she shrugged. He mentioned he was behind on laundry, so I figured I'd help out. You know, to earn my keep. I do his laundry, I said. I know, but you work so much. I have the time, so why not? She smiled at me. That same sweet smile that fooled everyone into thinking she was harmless. That night, I confronted Trevor in our bedroom. She did your laundry today. He was scrolling through his phone, barely listening. Yeah, she mentioned that. It was nice of her. I do your laundry, Trevor. I know you do, babe. But you're busy. She's just trying to be helpful. She's overstepping. He finally looked up from his phone. Overstepping? She folded some clothes. Why are you making this into a big deal? Because it feels wrong. The way she's acting. The way she's inserting herself into our life. Our life? Denise, she's staying with us temporarily. She's not inserting herself into anything. She's just being nice. She wore white to our wedding, I said suddenly. Trevor blinked. What does that have to do with anything? She wore white to our wedding, Trevor. On purpose. To get attention. She's always been like this. Always trying to compete with me, always trying to take what's mine. Now you're being paranoid. She wore white because she didn't know better. She was young. She was 21. She knew better. Trevor sighed and went back to his phone. I'm not doing this with you. You're stressed from work and you're taking it out on Crystal. She's been nothing but respectful and helpful, and you're treating her like she's the enemy. Maybe she is. He didn't respond to that. Just kept scrolling. I turned away from him and pretended to read a book, but the words blurred on the page. That weekend, I worked late on Saturday. A big client presentation on Monday. When I got home at 8, I found Trevor and Crystal watching a movie in the living room. My living room. On my couch. They were sitting close. Too close. Hey babe, Trevor said without looking away from the screen. There's pizza in the kitchen if you're hungry. What are you watching? I asked. Some action movie, Crystal said. Trevor's been telling me I need to see it forever. Forever? They'd been having conversations about movies? For how long? I went to the kitchen, saw the pizza box, my favorite place, the one I'd taken Trevor to on our 3rd date, and felt something crack inside my chest. I didn't eat. Just went upstairs, closed the door, and lay in the dark. Trevor didn't come to bed until after midnight. He smelled like Crystal's perfume. You fell asleep early, he said, getting into bed beside me. I didn't answer. Just pretended to be asleep while my heart broke into smaller and smaller pieces. The next morning, I found Crystal's underwear in our laundry room, mixed in with our clothes. Red lace panties that definitely weren't mine. I stared at them for a full minute, my hands shaking. Then I put them back exactly where I found them, took a photo with my phone, and texted Rochelle. I need to see you. Now. Rochelle met me at a coffee shop in downtown Brooklyn on Sunday afternoon. I told Trevor I was meeting a client. He barely looked up from the football game he was watching with Crystal when I left. "Show me," Rochelle said as soon as I sat down. I pulled out my phone and showed her the photo. The red lace underwear in our laundry basket. Rochelle's face went hard. "Those aren't yours." "No." "And they were in your laundry room? Mixed with your clothes?" "Yes." She sat back in her chair, her jaw tight. "Denise, you know what this means. Maybe she just accidentally mixed up her laundry with ours. Maybe it was innocent." "Girl, stop. You don't believe that, and neither do I." She leaned forward, her voice low and urgent. "How long has she been there?" 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and your husband is already doing her laundry? They're watching movies together on your couch? He's coming to bed smelling like her perfume? Rochelle shook her head. "This isn't innocent. This is a full-blown affair." The word hit me like a fist. Fair. I'd been thinking it, but hearing it out loud made it real. "I don't have proof," I whispered. "You have plenty. You just don't want to see it. But I'm telling you right now, as your friend and as an attorney, you need to document everything. Every weird moment. Every time they're alone together. Every piece of her clothing that ends up where it shouldn't be. Because when this blows up and you're going to need evidence." "Evidence for what?" "For your divorce." I flinched. "Rochelle, I'm not getting divorced. I love him." "Honey, I know you love him. But does he love you? Because a man who loves you doesn't move another woman into your home. He doesn't laugh with her on your couch while you're upstairs alone. He doesn't come to bed smelling like her." Tears burned my eyes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading into things. "You're not wrong. Your gut is telling you something's off and you need to listen to it. Promise me you'll start paying attention. Real attention. Not just hoping it'll go away." I nodded, wiping my eyes. "And promise me something else," Rochelle said. "Promise me that if you find proof, you'll let me handle it. Don't confront him alone. Don't confront her alone. You call me first. We do this smart." "Okay," I whispered. "I'm serious, Denise. These situations can get ugly fast. People do desperate things when they're caught. You need to protect yourself." I left the coffee shop feeling worse than when I'd arrived. Because deep down, I knew Rochelle was right. That night, I started watching them differently. I noticed how Crystal lit up whenever Trevor walked into a room. How she'd find excuses to touch him, his shoulder, his arm, his back. How she'd laugh at everything he said, even when it wasn't funny. I noticed how Trevor smiled at her differently than he smiled at me. Softer. Warmer. I noticed how they'd stop talking when I entered the room, like I'd interrupted something private. On Tuesday, I came home early from work. I'd had a headache all day and decided to leave at 3 instead of staying until 6. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. "Trevor?" I called out. No answer. His car was in the driveway. He was home. I walked upstairs slowly, my heart pounding. Heard voices coming from the guest bedroom. Low voices. Intimate voices. I stood outside the door, my hand on the knob, and listened. "Can't keep doing this," Trevor was saying. "Why not?" Crystal's voice playful. "She doesn't know. She's so busy with work, she barely notices we're alive." "That's not true. She notices. She's been acting suspicious." "So what?" "She can't prove anything. And even if she could, you told me you were planning to leave her anyway. That the marriage has been dead for years." My breath caught in my throat. "I know, but the timing. The timing is perfect. I'm already here. We're already spending every day together. Just admit that you love me, Trevor. Admit that you want to be with me instead of her." Silence. Long, agonizing silence. Then, "You know I do." My knees almost gave out. I grabbed the door frame to keep from collapsing. "Then let's stop hiding," Crystal said. "Let's tell her. Tonight. Get it over with." "Not tonight. I need more time. Need to figure out the finances. She makes more money than I do, and if we divorce, you'll get your half of the house. You'll be fine. We'll be fine." I couldn't listen anymore. Couldn't breathe. I turned and walked back downstairs as quietly as I'd come up. Got in my car. Drove to Rochelle's office. She took one look at my face and closed her office door. "Tell me," she said. I told her everything I'd heard. Every word. By the time I finished, I was sobbing so hard I couldn't catch my breath. Rochelle handed me tissues and let me cry. Then she sat across from me, her face set in stone. "Okay," she said. "Here's what we're going to do. You're not going to confront them. Not yet. You're going to go home, act normal, and let them think they're getting away with it. Meanwhile, I'm going to start building your case." "What case?" "Your divorce case. Denise, this is adultery. In New York, that matters. It means you can file for a fault-based divorce. He won't get half of anything. Not the house. Not your retirement. Nothing. I don't want to divorce him, I said, even though I knew it was over. I just want my life back. Your life with him is over. It was over the moment he moved her into your house. Now we're going to make sure that when this ends, you're the one left standing. Not him. Not her. You. I nodded numb. Go home, Rochelle said gently. Act normal. And tomorrow we start gathering evidence. I drove home in a daze. Walked back into my house, the house that no longer felt like mine, and found Trevor cooking dinner in the kitchen. Crystal was setting the table. They both looked up when I came in, all smiles. Hey babe, Trevor said. Feeling better? Crystal said you came home early. So she told him. They'd known I was here. Yeah, I said. Just a headache. I went for a drive to clear my head. Well, dinner's almost ready. We made your favorite. Chicken and rice. We ate together like a happy family. Trevor and Crystal talked about their day together while I pushed food around my plate and smiled at the right times. And all I could think was, they're planning to tell me tonight. They're going to sit me down and tell me Trevor wants a divorce so he can be with her. But they didn't. Dinner ended. We cleaned up. Trevor and Crystal went back to watching TV while I went upstairs to shower. And I realized they weren't going to tell me tonight. Or tomorrow night. Or the night after that. They were going to keep lying. Keep sneaking around in my house. Keep making a fool of me. Trevor wanted more time to figure out the finances. He wanted to make sure he'd get his half of the house before he left me. That's when something inside me shifted. The heartbreak turned into something else. Rage. Pure, cold rage. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. For 3 weeks, I'd been losing myself. Losing sleep, losing weight, losing my mind trying to make sense of what was happening in my own home. No more. If Trevor wanted to play games, I'd play too. But I'd play to win. I grabbed my phone and texted Rochelle. You're right. I'm ready. Let's take them down. The next morning, I woke up with a purpose. Trevor and Crystal thought they were so clever, sneaking around behind my back. Planning their future while living off my money in my house, sleeping under my roof. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I got dressed for work in my sharpest suit, navy blue, tailored, the one that made me feel like I could conquer anything. I put on the diamond earrings Trevor had given me for our 5th anniversary and looked at myself in the mirror. You've got this, I told myself. You're Denise Harper. You didn't claw your way up from nothing to let these two take you down. When I went downstairs, Trevor was already gone for an early meeting. Crystal was still in bed. Good. I made coffee, ate breakfast, and before I left for work, I did something I'd never done before. I set up a camera. Just a small one. The kind they sell online for home security. I positioned it on the bookshelf in the living room, angled so it captured most of the space. Then I downloaded the app on my phone so I could watch the feed from anywhere. Rochelle had given me clear instructions. Document everything, she'd said. But do it legally. No recording in bedrooms or bathrooms. Just common areas. We need to catch them in the act without breaking any laws. At work, I couldn't focus. Every 10 minutes, I'd check my phone watching the camera feed. Crystal woke up around 10. Made herself breakfast in my kitchen. Did her nails in my living room. Scrolled through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. Then around noon, Trevor came home. I watched them hug in the foyer. Watched her kiss his cheek. Watched them move to the couch. They sat close. Too close. His arm around her shoulders. Her head on his chest. They stayed like that for 20 minutes watching TV while my heart turned to stone. Then they started kissing. Not a peck. Not a friendly kiss. A real kiss. Deep and long and intimate. I watched it happen on my phone screen while sitting in my office and I felt nothing. The heartbreak had burned itself out. All that was left was cold, calculated determination. I took screenshots. Sent them to Rochelle. Her response came back immediately. Perfect. Keep recording. We need more. Over the next week, I became someone I didn't recognize. Someone who smiled at her cheating husband over breakfast while checking camera footage of him kissing her stepsister the day before. Someone who asked Crystal how her job search was going while knowing she spent her days in my house, in his arms. The camera caught everything. I watched them make out on my couch. Watched them slow dance in my kitchen. Watched him feed her bites of food. Watched her sit on his lap. But they never went upstairs together during the day. Never into a bedroom. They were being careful about that. Smart. But not smart enough. On Thursday night, I told Trevor I had to fly to Chicago for a client meeting. It was a lie. I'd taken Friday off and told my boss I needed a personal day. I'll be back Saturday morning, I said, packing an overnight bag. That's a long trip for one meeting, Trevor said, barely looking up from his phone. It's an important client. I want to take my time with them. Okay. Crystal and I will hold down the fort. Crystal and I. Like they were a team. Like she was my replacement. I'm sure you will, I said. I left Thursday evening, drove to a hotel in Manhattan, and checked in under my name. Made sure there was a clear record that I was there. Used my credit card at the hotel bar. Ordered room service. Rochelle's words echoed in my head. Make sure you have an alibi for every second you're gone. We need to show you weren't there, so whatever happens can't be blamed on you. But I wasn't in Manhattan. At midnight, I drove back to Brooklyn. Parked 3 blocks away from my house. Walked the rest of the way in the dark, staying in the shadows. My house was dark except for one light. The master bedroom. Our bedroom. I stood across the street, hidden behind a neighbor's car, and watched. Waited. Around 1 a.m, the light went out. I waited another hour. Then I walked up to my house, silent as a ghost, and let myself in through the back door with my key. The house was silent. I tiptoed upstairs, past the guest bedroom empty, Crystal's bed still made, and stood outside my bedroom door. I could hear them breathing on the other side. Both of them. In my bed. I pulled out my phone and took a video. Opened the door slowly, letting the light from the hallway spill in. There they were. Trevor and Crystal. Asleep in my bed. Her head on his chest. His arm around her waist. I recorded for 30 seconds. Then I quietly closed the door and left the same way I'd come. Drove back to Manhattan. Climbed into my hotel bed. And finally, for the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. The next morning, I sent the video to Rochelle. Her response, got them. This is everything we need. Come to my office tomorrow. We're filing Monday. I spent Friday in Manhattan. Had lunch at a nice restaurant. Went shopping. Got a massage. Did all the things I'd never had time to do because I was too busy working to support a husband who was planning to leave me. Saturday morning, I drove home. Trevor and Crystal were in the kitchen when I walked in, cooking breakfast together like a couple. Hey babe, Trevor said, kissing my cheek. How was Chicago? Productive, I said, smiling. Really productive. That's great. Crystal made pancakes. Want some? No thanks. I'm exhausted. I'm going to take a nap. It had been made. Fresh sheets. They tried to cover their tracks. But it didn't matter anymore. I had everything I needed. Sunday, I met Rochelle at her office. She'd already drafted the divorce papers. Fault-based divorce. Adultery. I'm citing the video evidence, the camera footage, and witness testimony from the neighbors I've already contacted about seeing them together during the day when you were at work. Neighbors saw them? Mrs. Patterson across the street. She's a retired teacher. Very observant. Very willing to testify. She's seen them kissing on your porch, holding hands on walks around the block. She thought it was strange that your sister was so affectionate with your husband. I'd forgotten about Mrs. Patterson. She was always outside, tending her garden, watching the neighborhood. We're also going after the house, Rochelle continued. You purchased it before you got married, then added his name to the deed after the wedding. That was your mistake. But we can argue that since he committed adultery, he forfeits his claim. New York law allows that. What about his business? What business? The one that's been losing money for 3 years? The one you've been bankrolling with your salary? Rochelle smiled. Let him have it. It's worthless. We're going after the real assets. The house, your retirement accounts that he never contributed to, and we're making sure he pays for his own attorney. Plus, we're requesting that Crystal be evicted immediately as she's not on the lease and is actively contributing to the dissolution of your marriage. How long will this take? We file Monday. He'll be served Tuesday. And Denise. She looked me in the eye. This is going to get ugly. He's going to be angry. She's going to be vindictive. Your father might get involved because of Donna. Are you ready for this? I thought about the last month. The lies. The betrayal. The way they'd stolen my peace in my own home. I'm ready, I said. Monday morning, I woke up and got dressed for work like it was any other day. Trevor was still asleep. Crystal was in the guest room. I went downstairs, made coffee, and at exactly 8 a.m, a process server knocked on our door. I answered it, already dressed for work. Delivery for Trevor Banks, the server said. He's upstairs. I'll get him. I went up to our bedroom and shook Trevor awake. Baby, someone's here for you. Says they have a delivery. Trevor stumbled downstairs in his pajama pants, barely awake. Took the envelope from the server. Signed for it. The server left. Trevor opened the envelope, still half asleep. I watched his face as he read the first page. Watched the color drain from his face. Watched his hands start to shake. "What the hell is this?" he whispered. "It's divorce papers," I said calmly. "You're being served for adultery. And Crystal has 24 hours to get out of my house, or I'm having her removed by the police." He looked up at me, his eyes wide. "Denise, what are you talking about? Adultery? I haven't." "Save it," I interrupted. "I have video of you two in our bed. I have camera footage of you kissing her on our couch. I have witness statements from the neighbors. I know everything, Trevor. I've known for over a week. And now it's over." Crystal appeared at the top of the stairs, clearly woken by the commotion. "What's going on?" she asked. "You have 24 hours to pack your things and leave," I said, looking up at her. "After that, I'm calling the police to have you removed for trespassing." Her face went pale. "Denise, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. You moved into my home and slept with my husband. In my bed. Under my roof. And now you're going to leave. Both of you." Trevor found his voice. "I'm not leaving. This is my house too. Not according to the lawyer. I bought this house before we got married. Then I made the mistake of adding your name to the deed. But adultery voids your claim. So you have a choice. You can leave voluntarily, or we can let a judge force you out. Either way, you're going." I picked up my purse and my work bag. "I'm going to the office," I said. "When I come home tonight, Crystal, you better be gone. Trevor, you can stay until the judge orders you out. But as of right now, you're sleeping on the couch. If you step foot in our bedroom, I'm calling the police." And I walked out of my house, leaving them standing there in shock. At work, my phone blew up with calls and texts from Trevor. I blocked his number. Then Crystal's. Then my stepmother Donna's, because I knew that was coming. The only call I answered was from my father. "Denise, honey, Donna just called me in tears. She says you're divorcing Trevor and kicking Crystal out. What's going on?" "Daddy, they've been having an affair. In my house. In my bed. And I have proof." Silence. Then quietly, "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." More silence. Then, "I'm so sorry, baby girl. So sorry. What can I do?" "Nothing right now. Just don't let Donna talk you into defending them. Please." "I won't. You're my daughter. You come first." I almost cried at that. Almost. "Thank you, Daddy." That night, I came home to an empty guest room. Crystal had packed her things and left. But Trevor was still there, sitting in the living room, looking like he'd aged 10 years in one day. "We need to talk," he said. "No, we don't. Talk to your lawyer. That's all the communication we need from now on. Denise, please. I made a mistake. A horrible mistake. But we can work through this. We can go to counseling." I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing. No love. No anger. Nothing. "You told her the marriage was dead," I said. "You told her you were planning to leave me. You made plans for a future with her in my house, on my dime. This isn't a mistake, Trevor. This is who you are. And I'm done." I went upstairs, locked myself in our bedroom, and called Rochelle. "She's gone," I said. "And he's broken." "Good," Rochelle said. "Now the real fight begins." The next 2 weeks were hell. Trevor refused to leave the house. He couldn't legally until the judge ordered him out. So we lived in the same space like hostile strangers. He slept on the couch. I slept in our bedroom with the door locked. We didn't speak unless we had to. Every morning, I'd wake up and find him already gone, hiding out at his office or a friend's house. Every evening, I'd come home from work and he'd already be back, looking more defeated than the day before. His lawyer wasn't as good as Rochelle. Couldn't be. Because the evidence against him was overwhelming. My lawyer had submitted the video of them in our bed. The camera footage of them kissing on our couch. Mrs. Patterson's sworn statement about seeing them together while I was at work. The photos of Crystal's underwear in our laundry. Cell phone records showing hundreds of texts between them at all hours of the day and night. Trevor tried to argue that it was all circumstantial. That the video didn't prove they'd slept together, just that they'd fallen asleep in the same bed. That the kissing could have been friendly. The judge wasn't buying it. Meanwhile, Crystal had moved back in with her mother and my father. I'd been getting angry texts from Donna for days before I finally blocked her too. But my father called every other day to check on me. To tell me he was proud of me for standing up for myself. To say that he'd always loved Crystal like a daughter, but what she'd done was unforgivable. "Her mother is making excuses for her," he told me one night. "Saying you overreacted. That Trevor was the one who seduced Crystal. That she's the victim here. Do you believe that?" I asked. No. I know my daughter. You don't lie. If you say you have proof, you have proof. And I know Crystal. She's always wanted what other people have. Including you. It felt good to hear him say that. To know he was on my side. Donna's not happy with me, he continued. We've been fighting about it. She wants me to convince you to drop the divorce. To give Trevor another chance. Are you going to? No. I told her that you're my daughter, and if she can't support you, then we have a problem. Daddy, don't let this ruin your marriage. He was quiet for a moment. Then, baby girl, any marriage that's built on choosing sides against my own daughter isn't a marriage worth keeping. 2 weeks after I filed for divorce, my father filed for divorce too. When he told me, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I was relieved. Relieved that he was choosing me. That he saw through Crystal and Donna's lies. You don't have to do that for me, I said through tears. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. I married Donna because I was lonely after your mother died. But I've spent the last 5 years walking on eggshells, watching her spoil Crystal, watching Crystal manipulate everyone around her. I should have left years ago. I'm sorry, Daddy. Don't be sorry. Be strong. That's all I need you to be. At work, things were getting better. My boss, Lawrence Porter, had noticed I was going through something. He pulled me aside one afternoon and asked if I was okay. I told him the truth. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I was tired of pretending. Tired of acting like my life wasn't falling apart. He listened without interrupting. Then he said something I'll never forget. Denise, you're one of the strongest people I know. You built our entire East Coast marketing campaign from scratch. You tripled our client base in 2 years. You've been carrying this department on your back while dealing with this situation at home, and no one would ever know. That's strength. That's resilience. And when this is all over, you're going to come out stronger than ever. Thank you, I whispered. And just so you know, there's a VP position opening up next quarter. I'm recommending you for it. You've earned it. I went back to my office and cried for the first time in weeks. Not sad tears. Grateful tears. Because while my marriage was ending, my career was thriving. While Trevor was losing everything, I was gaining everything. The hearing for temporary orders was scheduled for the end of the month. Rochelle explained what that meant. We're going to ask the judge to order Trevor out of the house immediately. We're also going to request that he pay temporary spousal support to cover his half of the mortgage and bills, since you've been paying for everything. And we're going to make sure he can't touch any of your joint accounts. Will the judge agree to all that? With the evidence we have? Absolutely. Adultery matters in New York. The judge isn't going to let him profit from his own wrongdoing. The night before the hearing, Trevor tried to talk to me one more time. I was in the kitchen making dinner for myself when he came in and sat at the table. I know you don't want to talk to me, he started. But I need to say this. I'm sorry, Denise. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I kept chopping vegetables, didn't look at him. It started so innocently, he continued. Crystal needed help and I wanted to be there for her. Then we started talking more, spending more time together, and I don't know how it happened, but somewhere along the way, I developed feelings for her. Stop, I said quietly. Denise, please. Stop. I put down the knife and finally looked at him. You don't get to do this. You don't get to make excuses. You don't get to act like you're the victim here because you developed feelings. You made a choice. You chose to betray me. You chose to bring her into our home. You chose to sleep with her in our bed. Those were all choices, Trevor. And now you get to live with the consequences. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to take out the trash. A mistake is double booking dinner plans. What you did was calculated. You told her our marriage was dead. You told her you were planning to leave me. You just wanted to wait until you'd figured out the finances so you could take half of everything I'd worked for. That's not a mistake. That's a strategy. His face crumpled. I do love you. I know you don't believe me, but I do. You love my money, I said flatly. You love my house. You love the life I gave you. But you don't love me. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. I'm going to lose everything, he said, and his voice broke. Yes, I said. You are. Just like I almost did. I left him sitting there and went upstairs to pack for the hearing. Rochelle had told me to dress powerful. To walk into that courtroom looking like a woman who couldn't be broken. I picked out my best suit. My mother's pearls. My highest heels. Tomorrow we'd go to court. And tomorrow I'd start taking back my life. The courtroom was cold and impersonal, with fluorescent lights that made everyone look tired. Trevor sat at a table with his lawyer, a middle-aged white man who looked underprepared and overwhelmed. I sat at a table with Rochelle, who looked like she was ready to destroy someone. Judge Okafor entered and we all stood. She was a black woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and no-nonsense demeanor. She looked at the case file, looked at both parties, and got straight to business. "I've reviewed the evidence submitted by both parties," she said. "Mrs. Banks, your attorney has provided substantial documentation of adultery. Mr. Banks, your attorney has provided very little in your defense. Do you have anything to add before I make my ruling on temporary orders?" Trevor's lawyer stood up, fumbling with his papers. "Your Honor, my client admits that he made a poor judgment call in allowing Mrs. Banks's stepsister to stay in the marital home. However, he maintains that the relationship was not physical in nature, and that the evidence is circumstantial." "Counselor," Judge Okafor interrupted. "I watched the video. Your client and the stepsister were in the marital bed together, both in their undergarments, his arm around her waist. That's not circumstantial. That's damning. Do you have any evidence to the contrary?" We believe the video was taken without my client's knowledge or consent. In a common area of his own home? That's not illegal. Try again." Trevor's lawyer sat down, defeated. Judge Okafor turned to Rochelle. "Counselor Davis, you're requesting that Mr. Banks be removed from the marital home immediately, is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor. The home was purchased solely by Mrs. Banks prior to the marriage. She then made the mistake of adding Mr. Banks to the deed after their wedding. Given his adultery and the emotional harm he's caused by conducting an affair, and that Mr. Banks forfeit any claim to it." "Granted," Judge Okafor said without hesitation. "Mr. Banks, you have 72 hours to remove yourself and your belongings from the marital home. You are not to return to the property without Mrs. Banks's express permission or a police escort." Trevor's face went white. "Furthermore," the judge continued, "I'm granting Mrs. Banks exclusive use of all joint bank accounts until the final divorce decree. Mr. Banks, you may petition for spousal support, but given the circumstances of this case, I'm not inclined to grant it. You committed adultery. You don't get to profit from that." "Your Honor," Trevor's lawyer tried, "my client has no income." Then perhaps he should have thought of that before he had an affair with his wife's stepsister. In their marital bed. In their home. Judge Okafor looked directly at Trevor. "Mr. Banks, you made your choices. Now you get to live with them. This hearing is adjourned. Final divorce hearing is scheduled for 60 days from now." She banged her gavel and it was over. Trevor sat there in shock while his lawyer packed up his briefcase. I stood up, feeling lighter than I had in months. Rochelle hugged me. "You did it. The house is yours." "We did it," I corrected. As we left the courtroom, I heard Trevor call my name. I didn't turn around. Didn't look back. That chapter of my life was over. 3 days later, Trevor moved out. I came home from work to find most of his things gone. He'd taken his clothes, his shoes, his books. Left behind the furniture we'd bought together, the pictures on the walls, the life we'd built. The house felt empty, but it also felt clean. Like I could finally breathe again. That night, I walked through every room, reclaiming my space. Our bedroom was just my bedroom now. The living room was mine. The kitchen was mine. I changed the locks, set up new security codes, made it clear that this was my house and only people I chose could enter it. Then I sat on my couch, the same couch where Trevor had kissed Crystal, and I cried. Not because I missed him, but because I was mourning what I'd thought we had. The future I'd planned. The children I'd wanted. The partnership I'd believed in. All of it was gone. But I was still here. Still standing. Still fighting. And I was going to win. The house was too quiet without Trevor. I thought I'd love it, the silence, the space, the freedom to exist without walking on eggshells. But instead, I found myself staying late at work just to avoid coming home to empty rooms. Rochelle noticed. She showed up at my house on a Saturday morning with bagels and coffee, let herself in with the spare key I'd given her, and found me still in bed at 11. "Girl, get up," she said, opening the curtains. "You won and you're acting like you lost." "I'm tired," I mumbled. "You're depressed. There's a difference. Now get dressed. We're going out." "I don't want to go out." "I don't care what you want. You're going out." She dragged me to brunch in Fort Greene, to a cute little place with outdoor seating and mimosas. We sat in the sun, and for the first time in weeks, I felt almost normal. "How's the case going?" I asked. "Good. Trevor's lawyer is trying to negotiate a settlement, but we're not budging. We want the house, your retirement accounts, and we want him to pay your legal fees. Will we get it? With the evidence we have?" "Yes. The only question is whether he's smart enough to settle now or drag it out until the judge rules against him anyway." What about Crystal? Rochelle's face hardened. What about her? Have you heard anything? Where is she? What's she doing? Last I heard, she's living with her mother in the Bronx. Your father left, so Donna's in a one-bedroom apartment now. Crystal's sleeping on the couch. Rochelle smiled. Karma's a beautiful thing. My father really left her? Girl, yes. He filed for divorce 2 weeks after you did. Said he'd spent 5 years enabling bad behavior and he was done. He's living in an apartment in Harlem now. Happy as can be. I felt a surge of pride for my father. He'd chosen me. Even when it cost him his marriage. You should call him, Rochelle said. He asks about you every time I talk to him. He talks to you? Girl, your daddy calls me weekly for updates on your case. He wants to make sure you're okay. That you're protected. He loves you, Denise. Don't shut him out because you're hurting. She was right. I'd been avoiding everyone, including my father. Afraid that if I let people in, I'd fall apart. That afternoon, I called him. Baby girl, he answered on the first ring. I've been waiting to hear from you. I'm sorry I haven't called Daddy. I've been. I know. You don't have to explain. How are you holding up? Some days are better than others. That's all you can ask for right now. Have you been taking care of yourself? Eating? Sleeping? Trying to. I want to see you. Can I take you to dinner this week? We met at his favorite restaurant in Harlem on Wednesday night. He looked good, younger somehow. Lighter. Leaving Donna was the best decision I've made in years, he admitted over dinner. I should have done it long ago. I feel guilty, I said. Like I broke up your marriage. You didn't break up anything, baby. Donna and I broke up our own marriage by not being honest with each other. She wanted me to choose her daughter over mine. I couldn't do that. Wouldn't do that. Have you talked to Crystal? His face clouded over. Once. She called me crying, saying you'd ruined her life. That Trevor loved her and you were just being vindictive. What did you say? I told her that actions have consequences. That she made a choice to sleep with a married man in his wife's home, and now she has to live with what that choice cost her. Then I hung up. Haven't talked to her since. Daddy, I'm sorry. Stop apologizing. You did nothing wrong. Crystal did. Trevor did. Not you. You're the victim here, and I won't let anyone make you feel otherwise. We finished dinner and he walked me to my car. I'm proud of you, he said. Your mother would be proud of you too. She always said you were the strongest person she knew, even when you were little. My mother had died when I was 16. Cancer. Fast and brutal. My father had fallen apart afterward, and it had taken him years to start dating again. I miss her, I whispered. I know you do, but she's still with you. In your strength. In your resilience. She's the reason you're going to get through this. He hugged me tight and I let myself cry on his shoulder. At work, things were getting better. Lawrence had officially submitted my name for the VP position, and I'd been called in for 3 rounds of interviews with the executive team. The last interview was with the CEO, a no-nonsense woman named Patricia Summers who'd built the company from nothing. I've been watching your career for years, she told me. You're brilliant, hardworking, and you don't let anything stop you. Lawrence tells me you're going through a divorce. That can't be easy. It's not, I admitted. But I don't let my personal life interfere with my work. Clearly, your numbers are up 20% this quarter. In the middle of a divorce. That's impressive. Thank you. I'm offering you the position. Vice President of Marketing, East Coast Division. You'll oversee 12 teams, report directly to me, and your salary will be $250,000 a year. I almost fell out of my chair. Thank you, I managed. I won't let you down. I know you won't. Congratulations, Denise. I left her office in a daze. Called Rochelle immediately. Girl, I just got promoted to VP. Shut up. Denise, that's amazing. $250,000 a year, Rochelle. 250. You deserve every penny. And you know what this means. What? Trevor can't touch it. That salary is yours alone. Post-separation income. He has no claim to any of it. I'd never thought about that. Trevor had always resented that I made more money than him. And now I was making more than double what he'd ever made, and he couldn't do anything about it. This is your year, Rochelle said. You lost a bad husband, but you gained yourself back. And you're thriving. That night, I came home to my empty house and didn't feel lonely. I felt free. I poured myself a glass of wine, put on music, and danced in my living room like nobody was watching. Because nobody was. This was my space, my life, my rules. The final divorce hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Trevor's lawyer had tried to negotiate a settlement, but we'd refused. He wanted half the house, half my retirement, and spousal support. We were offering him nothing. Let the judge decide, Rochelle had said. He committed adultery. He's not entitled to anything. The day of the hearing, I dressed in my power suit again. My mother's pearls. My highest heels. Trevor was already in the courtroom when I arrived. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in weeks. Good. Crystal was there too, sitting in the back of the courtroom. She had the nerve to show up. I ignored her. Kept my eyes forward. Judge Okafor entered and we all stood. "We're here for the final divorce decree of Banks versus Banks," she said. "I've reviewed all submitted evidence and both parties' financial disclosures. Mr. Banks, you're requesting 50% of the marital home, 50% of Mrs. Banks's retirement accounts, and $5,000 a month in spousal support. Is that correct?" Trevor's lawyer stood. "Yes, Your Honor." "And Mrs. Banks, you're requesting full ownership of the marital home, full ownership of your retirement accounts, and you're denying any spousal support." "Correct." Rochelle stood. "Correct, Your Honor. Mrs. Banks purchased the home prior to marriage with her own funds. She made the mistake of adding Mr. Banks to the deed after marriage, but given his adultery, we believe he forfeits any claim. Additionally, Mrs. Banks's retirement accounts were funded entirely by her salary. Mr. Banks never contributed. He's not entitled to any portion of them." "And the spousal support?" Judge Okafor asked. "He committed adultery, Your Honor. He doesn't deserve a dime." Judge Okafor looked at Trevor. "Mr. Banks, do you deny the adultery?" Trevor stood up, shaking. "Your Honor, I made a mistake. That's not what I asked. Do you deny that you had an affair with Mrs. Banks's stepsister in the marital home?" Silence. "No, Your Honor," he finally said. "I don't deny it." "Then you have no grounds for requesting anything. The home belongs to Mrs. Banks. The retirement accounts belong to Mrs. Banks. And you will receive no spousal support. Furthermore, you will pay Mrs. Banks's legal fees in full. That's $35,000. Trevor's face crumpled. "Your Honor, I can't afford. You should have thought of that before you destroyed your marriage. This divorce is granted. You're free to go." She banged her gavel and it was over. Trevor sat there, defeated. His lawyer packed up quickly and left. I stood up, feeling lighter than air. Rochelle hugged me. "You did it? It's over." "It's over," I repeated and started to cry. Happy tears this time. As we left the courtroom, I saw Crystal standing by the door. She looked at me with hate in her eyes. "You ruined our lives," she spat. I stopped. Looked at her. Really looked at her. "No," I said calmly. "You ruined your own life. I just made sure you couldn't ruin mine." And I walked past her out of the courthouse into the sunlight. Free. The weeks after the divorce were strange. I kept expecting to feel sad, to miss Trevor, to regret my decision. But I didn't. Instead, I felt relieved. Like I'd been holding my breath for months and could finally exhale. The house felt different now that it was officially, legally mine. I walked through it with new eyes, seeing all the things I'd compromised on because Trevor had wanted them. The gray couch I'd never liked. The heavy curtains that blocked too much light. The gallery wall of our wedding photos. I started making changes. First, I took down every single picture of Trevor. Every wedding photo, every anniversary shot, every vacation memory. Packed them all in a box and put it in the basement. Maybe one day I'd look at them without feeling anything. But not yet. Then I called an interior designer, something I'd always wanted to do but Trevor had said was too expensive. Her name was Simone, a stylish black woman in her 40s who took one look at my living room and said, "Girl, we're starting over." Over the next month, we transformed my house into something that felt like me. We replaced the gray couch with a deep burgundy velvet one. Swapped the heavy curtains for light, airy whites. Painted the walls warm, rich colors, burnt orange in the dining room, sage green in the bedroom, butter yellow in the kitchen. "This is your fresh start," Simone said. "Your space should reflect who you are now, not who you were with him." She was right. With every change, I felt more like myself. More grounded. More whole. My promotion to VP came with a new corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the Brooklyn Bridge. I decorated it with art from Black women artists, photos of my mother and father, and a quote my mother used to say, "She was unstoppable not because she did not have failures or doubts, but because she continued despite them." My team threw me a party to celebrate. Cards, flowers, champagne. My assistant, Monica, a sharp young woman fresh out of college, gave a speech about how much she'd learned from me in just 1 year. You taught me that being professional doesn't mean being cold, she said. That you can be kind and still be powerful. That women don't have to shrink themselves to succeed. Thank you for being the kind of leader I want to become. I cried during her speech. Couldn't help it. After the party, Lawrence pulled me aside. You've handled this whole situation with remarkable grace, he said. Most people would have fallen apart. But you thrived. I had to, I said. Falling apart wasn't an option. Well, I'm proud of you. And I wanted to tell you something. We're opening a West Coast office next year. We need someone to head it up. Someone strong, someone strategic, someone who can build a department from scratch. I'm recommending you. Lawrence, I just started as VP. And you're already exceeding expectations. Think about it. It would mean relocating to Los Angeles for a year, maybe two. But the experience would be invaluable. And when you came back, you'd be next in line for my job when I retire. Los Angeles. A completely fresh start. A chance to rebuild not just my home but my entire life. I'll think about it, I promised. That weekend, I met Rochelle for lunch at our favorite spot in Park Slope. You're glowing, she said as soon as she saw me. What happened? I got offered the West Coast position. The what? I explained everything. The new office, the opportunity, the potential to eventually become Chief Marketing Officer. Denise, that's incredible. Are you going to take it? I don't know. It means leaving Brooklyn, leaving my father, leaving everything I know. It also means leaving all the bad memories behind, starting completely fresh. No chance of running into Trevor at the grocery store or seeing Crystal at family events. She had a point. I'm scared, I admitted. Of what? Of being alone. Of starting over in a city where I don't know anyone. Of failing. Rochelle reached across the table and grabbed my hand. Denise Harper, you are the strongest woman I know. You survived betrayal. You won your divorce. You got promoted in the middle of a crisis. You renovated your entire house by yourself. You are not going to fail. You're going to thrive. Just like you always do. What about you? What about my dad? I don't want to leave my people. Girl, we have planes. We have FaceTime. You can visit, we can visit. This isn't goodbye. This is you leveling up. And we're all going to be here cheering you on. I thought about it for days. Weighed the pros and cons, made lists. Called my father for advice. Do what makes you happy, baby girl, he said. Don't let fear hold you back from living your best life. Your mother wouldn't want that. He was right. My mother had always pushed me to be bold, to take risks, to bet on myself. So I did. I called Lawrence on Monday morning and accepted the position. I'm proud of you, he said. This is going to change your life. I had 3 months to prepare. 3 months to wrap up my current projects, train my replacement, and get ready to move across the country. I spent those months intentionally, reconnecting with old friends, having long dinners with my father, going to therapy to process everything I'd been through. My therapist, Dr. Brown, was a black woman in her 60s who'd been through her own divorce decades ago. You're doing the work, she told me during one session. You're not running from your pain. You're facing it, processing it, and choosing to grow from it. That's rare. Most people just bury it and wonder why it keeps showing up in their lives. I don't want to be bitter, I said. I don't want this to harden me. Then don't let it. Use it as fuel. Let it remind you of what you deserve and what you won't tolerate. But don't let it close your heart. I don't think I can trust anyone again. Not right now, no. But eventually you will. When you're ready. When you've healed. Trust isn't given overnight. It's earned. And one day someone will earn yours again. I wasn't sure I believed her, but I wanted to. As my move date approached, I started getting messages from unexpected people. Trevor texted from a new number. I heard you're moving. Congratulations. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you find happiness. I didn't respond. He didn't deserve my words. Crystal sent a long email. I know you hate me and you have every right to. I made terrible choices and I hurt you in ways I can never take back. Trevor and I aren't together anymore. Turns out he wasn't who I thought he was either. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and I hope you have a good life. I read it once and deleted it. She was right, I wasn't ready to forgive her. Maybe I never would be. Donna, my former stepmother, called my father and asked if she could talk to me. He asked if I wanted to. No, I said. I have nothing to say to her. I'll tell her, he said gently. You don't owe anyone your time or energy, baby. The week before my move, my father and Rochelle threw me a goodbye party. Small and intimate. Just close friends and family in my newly renovated living room. My father gave a toast. To my daughter, the strongest woman I know. You've been through hell this year, but you came out the other side better than ever. I'm so proud of the woman you've become. Your mother is proud too. I can feel it. Go out to California and show them what Brooklyn girls are made of. Everyone cheered. I cried happy tears. Later, Rochelle pulled me aside. I got you something, she said, handing me a small wrapped box. Inside was a necklace, a simple gold pendant with my initial. For your new beginning, she said. So you never forget who you are or where you came from. I put it on immediately and hugged her tight. Thank you for everything, I whispered. For fighting for me. For believing in me. Always, she said. That's what sisters do. Moving day came faster than I expected. The movers packed up my entire house, well, the things I was taking with me. I'd left some furniture, some kitchen items, some books. I was renting out the brownstone to a nice couple from New Jersey. The rent would more than cover my mortgage, and I'd have a nest egg growing while I was in LA. My father drove me to the airport. We sat in his car for a long time before I got out, neither of us wanting to say goodbye. Call me when you land, he said. I will. And Denise? Yeah, Daddy? I love you. So much. And I believe in you. I hugged him one more time, grabbed my suitcase, and walked into the airport. As the plane took off, I looked out the window at New York disappearing below me. The city that had raised me. The city where I'd loved and lost. The city where I'd learned who I really was. I was leaving it behind. But I was taking myself with me. And that was more than enough. Los Angeles was overwhelming. The sun was too bright, the traffic was terrible, and everyone seemed impossibly beautiful and impossibly fake. I missed Brooklyn, immediately missed the subway, the brownstones, the seasons, the realness of it all. But I didn't let myself wallow. I'd come here for a reason. The company put me up in a gorgeous apartment in Culver City while I looked for a permanent place. Floor-to-ceiling windows, modern kitchen, rooftop pool. It was the kind of place I'd only dreamed about in New York. My first day at the new office, I met my new team. 12 people, all younger than me, all eager and talented and ready to build something from scratch. I'm not going to lie to you, I told them in our first meeting. This is going to be hard work. We're building an entire marketing department from nothing. Long hours, high expectations, constant challenges. But if we do this right, we're going to create something amazing. Something we'll all be proud of. Are you with me? They all nodded, eyes bright with ambition. Good. Let's get to work. Over the next few months, I threw myself into the job. We hired more people. Landed our first major West Coast clients. Developed campaigns that started getting national attention. I worked 12-hour days, came home exhausted, and fell asleep feeling proud. Feeling accomplished. Feeling like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But I was also lonely. I knew no one in LA outside of work. Hadn't made any real friends. Spent my weekends alone, exploring the city, trying new restaurants, hiking trails I'd read about online. Was fine. Was what I needed. But it was lonely. One Saturday, I was hiking Runyon Canyon when I literally ran into someone, a tall black woman about my age, wearing expensive workout gear and expensive headphones. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, she said, grabbing my arm to steady me. I wasn't watching where I was going. It's okay, I laughed. Neither was I. I'm Jasmine, she said, pulling out her earbuds. Denise. We ended up hiking the rest of the trail together. She was a television producer, originally from Chicago, had moved to LA 5 years ago for work. It's hard making friends here, she admitted. Everyone's so busy, so focused on their careers. I've been here 5 years and I can count my real friends on one hand. I've been here 2 months and I can count mine on 0 hands, I said. She laughed. Well, now you have one. Want to grab coffee after this? We ended up spending the whole day together. Coffee turned into lunch, which turned into shopping, which turned into dinner. By the end of the day, I felt like I'd known her for years. We should do this again, she said when she dropped me off at my apartment. I'd like that. And we did. Every Saturday we'd meet up. Hike, brunch, explore. She introduced me to her small circle of friends, other professional black women in their 30s, all navigating career and life and healing from various heartbreaks. For the first time since moving to LA, I didn't feel so alone. At work, things were going even better than expected. Our department was exceeding every metric. Lawrence called me monthly for updates, always impressed with our progress. You're doing incredible work out there, he said during one call. The board is taking notice. You're definitely on track for CMO when I retire. That's still years away, I said. 2 years, actually. I'm retiring at 60. Which means you need to start thinking about whether you want to stay in LA or come back to New York. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Hadn't let myself imagine a future that permanent yet. I have time to decide, I said. You do. But just know that you have options, Denise. You've earned them. 6 months into my LA life, something unexpected happened. I met someone. His name was David Richardson. He was a lawyer at a firm we were working with on a contract negotiation. Tall, handsome, smart. The first time we met, I felt nothing. He was just another lawyer in a suit. But the second time, during a dinner meeting with clients, he made me laugh. Really laugh. The kind of laugh I hadn't experienced since before Trevor. After the meeting, he asked if I wanted to grab a drink. I said yes before I could overthink it. We went to a quiet bar in Santa Monica and talked for hours. About work, about life, about why we'd both ended up in LA. He'd moved from Atlanta 2 years ago, was also rebuilding his life after a divorce. My ex-wife cheated, he said, with my business partner. They're married now, running the law firm we built together. My ex-husband cheated with my stepsister, I said. In our house. In our bed. He let out a low whistle. That might be worse than mine. It's not a competition. No, but if it was, you'd win. We laughed about it, the kind of dark humor that only people who've been through hell can appreciate. How long has it been? He asked. Since the divorce? About 8 months. Since I caught him? A year. And how are you doing? Really? No one had asked me that in a while. Everyone assumed I was fine because I was successful. Because I'd moved across the country and was thriving professionally. Some days are great, I admitted. Some days I still wake up angry. But mostly I'm just grateful it's over. Grateful I got out. Grateful I didn't waste any more years on someone who didn't value me. I feel the same way, he said. My divorce was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But it was also the best thing. Because it taught me what I won't tolerate. What I deserve. We talked until the bar closed. Then he walked me to my car. Can I see you again? He asked. Not for work. Just to see you. I hesitated. I wasn't ready for a relationship. Wasn't sure I ever would be. But I was ready for companionship. For connection. For the possibility of something good. Yes, I said. We started seeing each other casually. Dinner once a week. Coffee on Saturday mornings before my hikes with Jasmine. Movies, museums, beaches. He never pushed for more. Never asked where it was going. Just enjoyed spending time together, and I did the same. Jasmine noticed immediately. Girl, you're glowing, she said one Saturday. Who is he? His name is David. He's a lawyer. We're just friends. Friends who make you smile like that? Sure, okay. I'm serious. I'm not ready for anything serious. Who said anything about serious? Just enjoy it. You deserve to be happy, Denise. You deserve to have someone treat you well. She was right. David did treat me well. He listened when I talked. Remembered small details. Never made me feel like I was too much or not enough. He was just easy. Being with him felt natural, comfortable, safe. But I still kept my guard up. Still waited for the other shoe to drop. For him to reveal some hidden flaw, some betrayal, some reason why this wouldn't work. One night, about 3 months into whatever we were doing, he called me out on it. We were having dinner at his place he'd cooked, which impressed me, and I was being distant. Distracted. What's going on? He asked. Nothing. Denise, I can tell when you're pulling away. You do it every time we get close to something real. Talk to me. I put down my fork. I'm scared. Of what? Of this. Of you. Of getting hurt again. He nodded slowly. I understand. I'm scared too. But Denise, we can't live our whole lives afraid. We can't let what other people did to us stop us from being happy. What if you're like him? What if you hurt me? I might, he said honestly. Not intentionally, but people make mistakes. I might disappoint you. You might disappoint me. That's part of being human. But I promise you this, I will never lie to you. I will never cheat on you. I will never disrespect you. Those are my non-negotiables. How do I know you mean that? You don't. Not yet. Trust takes time. But I'm willing to earn it if you're willing to give me a chance. I thought about what Dr. Brown had said. That eventually someone would earn my trust again. Maybe David was that someone. Okay, I said quietly. Let's try. But slow. As slow as you need, he promised. That night I called Rochelle. I met someone, I told her. She screamed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. Tell me everything. I did. Told her about David, about how we'd met, about how slow and careful we were being. Denise, I'm so proud of you, she said. You're not letting Trevor ruin you. You're not letting what he did close your heart. That's huge. I'm trying. You're doing more than trying. You're healing. And you're doing it right. A year into my LA life, everything changed again. Lawrence called with news. The board wants you back in New York, he said. They want you to be CMO. I'm retiring early. I recommended you and they agreed. The job is yours if you want it. Chief Marketing Officer. The job I'd been working toward my entire career. When would I start? I asked. 6 months. That gives you time to wrap up in LA, hire your replacement, transition everything smoothly. Can I think about it? Of course. But Denise, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Don't let fear make the decision for you. I told David that night over dinner. That's incredible, he said. Chief Marketing Officer. You've earned it. But it means leaving LA. Leaving you. He was quiet for a moment. Then, is that what you want? To stay here? I don't know. I love LA. I love my life here. I love us. I love us too, he said. But Denise, this is your dream job. You can't turn it down because of me. We've only been together a few months. 8 months. 8 months. That's not long enough for you to sacrifice your career. Not for anyone. Not even me. So what do? We don't do anything yet. You think about what you want. What's best for you. For your career. For your future. And whatever you decide, I'll support it. Even if I leave? Even if you leave. I spent weeks thinking about it. Talking to my father, to Rochelle, to Jasmine, to Dr. Brown. Everyone said the same thing. Take the job. You can't build your life around a man, my father said. Not after everything you've been through. You have to choose yourself. He was right. I called Lawrence and accepted the position. Then I told David. He smiled even though I could see the sadness in his eyes. I'm proud of you, he said. You're going to be incredible. Come with me, I said suddenly. What? Come with me. To New York. There are plenty of law firms there. You could start over. We could build something together. Denise, I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I don't want to lose you. And I don't want to sacrifice my career either. So come with me. Please. He stared at me for a long time. Then he kissed me. Okay, he said. Let's do it. Moving back to New York felt like coming home and starting over at the same time. My brownstone in Fort Greene was still being rented, so I found a new place in Brooklyn Heights, a stunning condo with a view of Manhattan, 2 bedrooms, updated everything. David flew out to help me apartment hunt, and the moment we walked into this one, we both knew it was right. You're really doing this, I said as we signed the lease. You're really moving across the country with me. I really am, he said, pulling me close. I figure if I'm going to take a leap of faith, might as well do it with someone worth leaping for. My father met David for the first time over dinner in Harlem. I was nervous. My father had never been Trevor's biggest fan, even before everything happened, and I worried he'd be overprotective now. But he and David hit it off immediately. Talked about law, sports, and books. By the end of the night, my father pulled me aside. I like him, he said simply. He's steady. Honest. Good for you. Thanks, Daddy. Just promise me you're being smart this time. Protecting yourself. I am. We kept our finances separate. He's signing a prenup before we officially move in together. Rochelle's idea. Good. I'm proud of you, baby girl. You learned from your mistakes. Rochelle threw me a welcome home party at her brownstone in Bed-Stuy. All my old friends came, people I hadn't seen in over a year. It felt surreal being back in Brooklyn, surrounded by familiar faces. Look at you, Rochelle said, hugging me tight. Chief Marketing Officer. New man. New life. You did that. We did that, I corrected. I wouldn't have survived without you. That's what best friends are for. My first day as CMO was intimidating. The executive suite, the corner office with the massive desk, the assistant whose only job was to manage my calendar and make my life easier. It felt unreal. But I walked in wearing my power suit and my mother's pearls, and I owned it. The board introduced me to the company. I gave a speech about my vision for the marketing department, my goals for growth, my commitment to building diverse teams and authentic campaigns. Afterward, Patricia Summers, the CEO, pulled me aside. You're going to be great, she said. I've been watching your career since you were a junior marketing manager. You've worked harder than anyone and you've earned this seat at the table. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. Thank you, I said. That means everything. David passed the New York bar exam on his first try and got hired at a top firm in Manhattan. We fell into a routine, both of us working long hours, coming home exhausted, cooking dinner together, decompressing on the couch. It felt healthy, like a real partnership. One night, about 6 months after we'd moved back to New York, we were having dinner when he said, "I need to tell you something." My stomach dropped. "What?" "I got a call today. From my ex-wife." I put down my fork. "Okay." "She and my old business partner are getting divorced. Apparently he cheated on her. With someone else." "Karma?" I said flatly. "Yeah." She called to apologize. Said she made a terrible mistake. Asked if I'd considered taking her back. I felt my chest tighten. "And what did you say?" I said no. I told her I've moved on, that I'm in a relationship with someone who respects me, and that I hope she finds what she's looking for, but it's not with me. I exhaled slowly. "Really? Really? Denise, I'm not going back to her. Ever. What we have is real. What I had with her was a lie. There's no comparison." I believed him. I didn't even have to think about it. "Thank you for telling me," I said. "Always," he said. "No secrets. That's the promise." 3 months later, we were having brunch with Rochelle and her new girlfriend when I saw them. Trevor and Crystal. They were at a table across the restaurant, looking miserable. Crystal looked like she'd aged 10 years, tired, defeated, worn down. Trevor looked the same. They hadn't seen me yet. "Don't look now," I whispered to David, "but my ex-husband and his mistress are across the room." David glanced over casually. "Want to leave?" "No," I said, surprising myself. "I'm fine. Let them see me." And a few minutes later they did. Trevor looked up and our eyes met. I saw the shock on his face, then the resignation. He said something to Crystal and she turned around and saw me too. I smiled, raised my glass, toasted them from across the room. Then I turned back to my people, David, Rochelle, Jasmine, who'd flown in from LA for the weekend, and continued my conversation like they didn't exist. Because they didn't. Not anymore. After brunch, Trevor approached me outside while David was getting the car. "Denise," he said, "can we talk? We have nothing to talk about. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. You didn't deserve what I did to you." "You're right. I didn't. But I'm glad it happened. Because it showed me who you really are. And it gave me the push I needed to become who I really am." "You look happy," he said quietly. "I am. Happier than I ever was with you. I heard you're CMO now. That's great. You always deserved that." "I know. Goodbye, Trevor." I walked away without looking back. David was waiting at the curb and I climbed into the car feeling lighter than I had in years. "You okay?" he asked. "Better than okay," I said. "I'm perfect." A year later, my father got remarried. To a wonderful woman named Diane who he'd met at church. She was kind, funny, and completely different from Donna. She treated me like a daughter from day one, never tried to compete for my father's attention, never brought drama. The wedding was small and beautiful. My father looked happier than I'd seen him in years. During his speech, he thanked everyone for coming, then turned to me. "To my daughter Denise, you taught me what real strength looks like. You showed me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from something that's hurting you. I'm so proud of the woman you've become. I'm so grateful to be your father." I cried happy tears for the first time in a long time. At work, I was thriving. Our revenue was up 40%. We'd landed 3 Fortune 100 clients. The board had given me a raise and more stock options. Patricia called me into her office one afternoon. "I'm stepping down in 2 years," she said. "I want you to be ready to take over as CEO." I almost fell out of my chair. "Patricia, you're the best person for the job. You're brilliant, you're strategic, and you care about people. That's what this company needs. Start thinking about it. Start preparing. Because in 2 years, this company is yours." That night, I told David. "CEO," he said, shaking his head in amazement. "Denise Harper, CEO. Your mother would lose her mind right now. I wish she was here to see it." "She is," he said. "In everything you do. Every decision you make. She's so proud of you." "I know it." 6 months later, David proposed. We were having dinner at the same restaurant where we'd had our first date in LA. He got down on one knee right there in the middle of the dining room, and I said yes before he even finished asking. "I know we're doing this backwards," he said. "Living together first, building a life, then getting married. But I don't care about the order. I just care about you." The ring was perfect. Simple, elegant, exactly what I would have chosen. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony in my father's backyard. Just close friends and family. Rochelle was my maid of honor. Jasmine flew in from LA. My father walked me down the aisle and I wore my mother's pearls. David's vows made me cry. "I promise to choose you every day," he said. "Even on the hard days. Even when it's not easy." I promise to be honest, to be faithful, to be your partner in all things. I promise to build a life with you that honors who you are and who you're still becoming. I love you, Denise Harper. And I'm so grateful you gave me a chance. My vows were simple. I promise to be brave enough to trust you, to be vulnerable with you, to let you see all of me, even the parts I've worked so hard to hide. I promise to choose us every day and to never take this gift for granted. I love you, David. Thank you for showing me what real love looks like. It was the happiest day of my life. At the reception, Rochelle gave a speech that had everyone laughing and crying. I've known Denise since we were 19 years old. I've watched her become the most incredible woman, brilliant, fierce, resilient, and kind. A few years ago, she went through hell. Someone she trusted broke her heart in the worst way possible. But she didn't let it break her. She got up, fought back, and built an even better life. And now, she's found someone who deserves her. David, you better take care of my girl. Because if you don't, I'm a lawyer, and I know how to make your life very difficult. Everyone laughed. David raised his glass. I wouldn't dream of crossing Rochelle Davis. Smart man, Rochelle said. My father's speech was shorter but just as meaningful. When Denise was born, I promised her mother I would always protect her. But what I've learned over the years is that Denise doesn't need protecting. She's strong enough to protect herself. What she needs is people who love her unconditionally, who support her dreams, who celebrate her wins and hold her up during losses. Take care of my daughter. And Denise, I love you more than words can say. As David and I had our first dance, I looked around the yard at all the people who'd stood by me, who'd fought for me, who'd loved me through the worst time of my life. And I realized something. Losing Trevor wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of me learning who I really was, what I really deserved, what real love actually looked like. He hadn't moved me into the gutter. He tried. But I'd climbed out, dusted myself off, and built a palace. And I'd moved him into irrelevance, where he belonged. 2 years after my wedding, Patricia Summers retired, and I became CEO. The announcement was made on a Tuesday morning. My face was on the cover of Forbes, Black Enterprise, and Fortune. Denise Harper, the woman who turned heartbreak into empire. The article told my story: the divorce, the move to LA, the climb to the top. It was vulnerable and honest, and I'd been nervous about sharing so much. But the response was overwhelming. Hundreds of messages from women thanking me, telling me my story gave them courage, showed them they could survive their own betrayals and come out stronger. You're an inspiration, one woman wrote. My husband just left me for his secretary. I thought my life was over. But reading about you made me realize it's just beginning. That message made me cry happy tears. My first day as CEO, I walked into the building with my head high. The lobby had a new banner. Congratulations to our new CEO, Denise Harper. My assistant I had two now greeted me with coffee and my schedule for the day. Board meeting at 9. All staff meeting at 11. Press conference at 2. You ready for this? David had asked me that morning over breakfast. I was born ready, I'd said, and I meant it. The all-staff meeting was in the main auditorium. Over 500 employees. I stood at the podium and looked out at them, people of every age, every background, every level. My name is Denise Harper, and I'm honored to be your new CEO. I started. I grew up in a small apartment in Brooklyn. My mother cleaned houses to put food on our table. My father worked 2 jobs. They taught me that hard work and dignity matter more than anything. That you can lose everything, your money, your marriage, your peace, but if you keep your dignity, you'll rebuild. That's what I did. And that's what this company is going to do. We're going to work hard, treat people right, and build something we're all proud of. Let's get to work. The applause was deafening. After the meeting, Patricia pulled me aside. You're going to be better at this than I ever was, she said. You have something I never had: empathy. You've been through hell and it made you kinder, not harder. That's the mark of a great leader. Thank you, Patricia, for everything, for believing in me. I didn't just believe in you. I bet on you. And it's the best bet I ever made. 6 months into my CEO role, I got an unexpected call. It was Crystal. I hadn't heard from her in over 3 years. I'd blocked her on everything and she'd respected that. Or maybe she just gave up trying. But now she was calling from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Denise? Her voice was small, broken. Please don't hang up. What do you want, Crystal? I need help. I almost laughed. You need help? From me? After what you did? I know I don't deserve it. I know I ruined your life. You didn't ruin my life. You ruined my marriage. There's a difference. My life is better than it's ever been. I know. I saw the Forbes article. I'm happy for you. Really? Why are you calling? Because I'm homeless. I lost my job 3 months ago. I've been couch surfing, but I'm out of options. My mom won't help me anymore. She's still angry about your dad leaving her. Everyone I know has cut me off. And I remembered what your mother used to say, that family helps family, even when they don't deserve it. My mother never said that. Crystal was lying. Again. Crystal, we're not family. We never were. Please, Denise. I'm desperate. I just need enough money to get back on my feet. A few $1,000s. I'll pay you back. No. Denise. No. You made your choices. You chose to sleep with my husband in my house, in my bed. You chose to try to destroy my marriage. You chose to be vindictive and cruel. And now you get to live with those choices. I'm not bailing you out. I'm not your savior. And I'm definitely not your family. Please. Goodbye, Crystal. Don't call me again. I hung up and blocked the number. David found me an hour later, sitting in my office, staring out the window. You okay? He asked. Crystal called. Asked me for money. Said she's homeless. What did you say? I said no.